So I don't normally do this, but I'd like to do an update to the retail video that I did probably about a year ago. At that time, there were 4 Kmart stores left in the United States. One in Bridgehamton, which is on Long Island, New York. 2 in New Jersey, and the last one down in Miami, Florida. It was actually just announced yesterday, that Kmart will be closing the Bridgehampton store, which will be the last full-size Kmart store in the continental United States. Now, there's a Kmart in Guam, which is a U.S. protectorate. There are also 1 Kmart store per each of the 3 U.S. Virgin Islands down in the Caribbean. And then, of course, the one in Miami was a full-size store, but it's getting reduced. They're moving everything into what used to be the garden center, and that's going to be sort of like a hybrid thing. It'll be about the size of a convenience store, gas station convenience store. So not a large area retail-wise, not a lot of product. You won't find a lot of product, but I wanted to do this video before I found out about the Bridgehampton closing, since that was one that I was able to visit. I'd gone out to Long Island, spent about a week out there, and got to see Bridgehampton firsthand. I had gone in with a lot of nostalgia. I remember shopping at Kmart with my grandmother. I remember the Kmart Cafe. I remember the Blue Light Special. 42 years old, so I have a little bit of that history. Living in the northeastern United States, growing up in the northeastern United States, a visit to Kmart was par for the course. The store was newer looking on the inside. They had this dark blue paint on the walls instead of the brown, orange, white stripes that they had at the top on a lot of the traditional Kmart stores. The Bridgehampton store is only 25 years old. I know through research, Kmart typically signed a 25-year lease. Give us this price every month for 25 years. And they would sign on that. I know that next month, October 2024, they'll be stopping that. They no longer have a store there. So my guess is that's when the lease ends up. And it looked like they had a very small selection. They just had a lot. Anything from clothes to kitchen appliances, everything seemed to be larger selection than what you'd be used to. They wouldn't see anything like that at a Walmart. I know we're on Long Island, so the prices were a little steeper than what I remember, but it's also more difficult to get products out to Long Island. You've got to pass anywhere from 1 to 2, depending on the route you take, toll roads, toll bridges to get to Long Island. Obviously, that's going to factor into pricing. So going between that and the Walmart about 45 minutes away from the South Fork of Long Island, prices were pretty much comparable. Walmart may have had a few things cheaper than Kmart. Kmart may have had a few things cheaper than Walmart. You saved a little bit either way. I wouldn't say that any one was more particularly focused towards discount. It seemed that they both had discount variety, selection. I'm debating, now that I know the closing day, the 20th, I'm debating taking a camera out there and actually videoing a visit. not 100% sure if I'm going to do that. As I said, going through that Kmart was a little bit of a... It was bittersweet, remembering what Kmart used to be and then seeing what it's become. It was very difficult to see the collapse of customer service quality. Used to be in the 70s and 80s, Kmart had very highly trained staff, so you could get help with anything that they had available. Unfortunately, as competition from Kmart and Target increased, Kmart decided to save money and not train employees instead of training them better or getting better pricing on stuff from, suppliers. I read a book. I'll put that in the comments section, all the information about it. Basically, the author went out, he looked at the way Walmart does business, he looked at the way Kmart does business, and he kind of set up a suggestion, ways that Kmart would be able to save themselves from bankruptcy. And this is the first bankruptcy back in 2002. Obviously, they didn't bother listening because in 2018, they filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time. Of course, now here we are in 2024, and it just... There'll be one Kmart to make it into the 2024 holiday season, and that's down in Miami, Florida, and that's not even a full-size store. So if you can make it to Long Island, if you can see this Bridgehamton store, I suggest that you do, just because it's probably the last time you'll ever be able to get into a full-size Kmart. I don't see Kmart salvaging themselves. They've had advice from multiple corners, from investors, from stakeholders, from employees. It doesn't seem like they've followed anybody's advice. It's almost pretty easy to agree that Eddie Lampert, the hedge fund manager that bought Kmart and Sears, basically a lot of people were accusing him of asset stripping. And it seems like that's exactly what he's been doing since 2005 when he bought Kmart. Selling off what he could for money at the expense of both Kmart and Sears to make himself wealthy. And seems, even though it's taken, let's say, 20 years to do that, it just goes to show you how resilient the Kmart name is, and that enough people were continuing to shop there. So even though it's only hobbling along, it is still moving. Until, of course, now, having a smaller hybrid size store, convenience store size format, it's going to be difficult to see. It's going to be interesting to see, first of all, what Kmart is able to do with that. If they're able to make that work. I was going to say initially that it looked like the Bridgehamton location was a good idea. There is no Walmart on the North or South Fork of Long Island. So the Bridgehamton location for Kmart being on the South Fork made sense. A lot of people who live out that way, that's a second home, a vacation home, a rental. So it's very possible that people are leaving home for a week's vacation in the summer and they forget something, so you can just swing by Kmart. As a matter of fact, that's what I did. I was spending a week out on Long Island. I forgot a few things. Well, we stopped at Kmart. Had everything I needed. Again, I paid a little bit more for the deodorant than I would have if I'd gone to Walmart, but Walmart had a better price, or Kmart had a better price on the shower shoes. I wasn't getting that at Walmart. So either way, I was getting one thing at a good price and I was overpaying for something else. Either way, whichever store I chose. So it looks like now we're down to one. One Kmart. there's about a dozen Sears stores left. The one in Jersey City, New Jersey, that closed last holiday season. That's the 2023 holiday season. So I think there's one in Massachusetts and there's one in North Carolina for Sears stores. I don't know that I'll be making my way to either of those. While I would love to, just for nostalgia's sake, it would probably be a pretty big disappointment to see how nobody cares. I know in Pennsylvania, Sears and Kmart both shut down pretty much every store they had in the region where I live. And I don't think anyone lasted. It wasn't like, hey, this is the last one in Pennsylvania kind of thing. I think they were all pretty gone pretty early. So it's going to be interesting to see if Kmart survives, and if they do survive, how they survive. Seeing this continual downward spiral, I'm not sure that they're going to survive. I don't know that we'll see, Kmart will see a 2025 holiday season. I'm not sure that that's going to be possible for them. They seem to be very stuck in the past with how they do things, and there seems to be a big disconnect between what corporate upper management executives are saying and what's being done at the stores. Based on what the executive is saying and what you see when you go into a Kmart store, there's just no way anything's being communicated appropriately or efficiently. So it looks like we might be saying goodbye to both Kmart and Sears probably before 2030 is out. It just doesn't look good at all. I'm going to continue to say, stick with what I said before. I don't see retail dying. Every Walmart, every Target, every Kohl's I've gone to, it's always very busy parking lot, very busy stores. The registers always have long lines, grocery stores. I don't see retail itself dying. I don't see that happening. Here in America, we've got money. We love to spend money, and retail is the way we do that. And even though e-commerce, online shopping has made, well, it's definitely more convenient. It's definitely made things more convenient. I don't think that e-commerce killed regular retail, though. I don't see that. The retailers that survive, the ones that continue chugging along, are the ones that are trying to learn and evolve. Retail in this country has changed substantially just in the past 40 years that I've been alive. Used to be, you had to withdraw cash, and you went to the mall and you spent cash on everything you went to purchase. Unless you had a credit card, or if you really wanted to go old-fashioned, you'd write a check. These days, little plastic card, scan it, you're on your way. You don't even have to contact. There's this touchless method now. Everything's processed electronically. I don't see retail dying. I don't think it's dead. I don't think it will die. And like I said in the first video, even if it's something like deodorant, toothpaste, mouthwash, there's always something you're going to forget, and it's just going to be handy to have a physical retail location to go to grab that. I do want to say that with the mix-up, we'll watch Sears, watch Sears and Kmart take a pretty dramatic downward spiral. 30 years ago, nobody would have believed you if you would have said that there'd only be 12 Sears stores left, or, hey, the last full-size Kmart's closed and there's only going to be a hybrid down in Florida. That's it. CVS, Walgreens, pharmacy stores like that, they're in financial straits, little difficulties. I probably with the way things are going, with the way that people shop, I don't see them being too bad off. If they're smart, those stores like that, the pharmacy store, should be able to pull out. It'll be interesting to see how they evolve with the changes here. As again, I did mention this in the first video as well, the Lehigh Valley Mall outside of Allentown has always been very busy, very successful. They did have a dying mall stage, but management went out and got a loan, and they made some physical improvements to the mall. And since then, the Lehigh Valley Mall has been doing exceptionally well. I don't think there's a single, maybe maximum 2 vacant storefronts. Everything else is very much leased out, occupied, and making money. 2022 and 2023, the holiday season, I went to Lehigh Valley Mall, and both years, the Lehigh Valley Mall was very busy. The Phillipsburg Mall closed and it's actually been demolished. A lot of malls are being closed and getting demolished to make way for something else. So the successful ones are the ones that have learned to stay relevant and have learned to keep a supply of what people want to buy. The ones that don't do that are the ones that fail. Let me see, that's pretty much everything. I didn't want to go too long, but that's the update. There's no more Kmart in New Jersey, and October 21st, there won't be a Kmart in New York State. So, some childhood icons are kind of slipping away, kind of like Toys R Us, Bethlehem Steel, Weirton Steel. A lot of those things you grew up with, they're just not around anymore, and shows you the dangers of not paying attention. I can't remember if I said this in the first video or not, but Sears, Roebuck and Company started off as a catalog. They were a trendsetter in that when everybody began moving out into the suburbs, when malls began becoming constructed, it was Sears that decided to do a big box department store style store layout. And they were lucky in that they had read people's, I guess consumer preferences would be the best word to use. They read the consumer preferences and they were able to take advantage of that by being there as one of the first to offer something that people were looking for. And that was how Sears made its money. Up until the 1970s, that's all Sears was doing, was just, setting trends, breaking records. Seems like once they built the Sears Tower in Chicago, Sears kind of stopped setting trends. They stopped watching the market. They stopped evolving. And that's why we've only got 12 Sears stores now. It's why there's only soon just one Kmart store. Being short-sighted and not, I don't want to say not, because it's difficult to predict the future, but not attempting to evolve as the business evolves. That's always going to be your downfall. And it's really sad to say that. I have a lot of good memories. There's a lot of stuff from both Sears and Kmart, and now all that's gone. So yeah, that's the update. I'm kind of glad I waited to do this, to finding out that the Bridgehamton Kmart's closing. What if I had to do an addendum to an addendum? Now I don't have to do that. I just did it all in one. So stay tuned. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to visit the Bridgehamton one a final time. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video where I just record. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And it's very likely that I'm not going to make it out to a Massachusetts or North Carolina Sears. It'd be a long way to drive just to see a store. So stay tuned. See what I decide to do with the Bridgehampton. Um, and of course, there's going to be when the news drops. I'll try to do a little something. Um, as I said, there's a book if you're really interested. As I know, it was Brian's question: why did the malls die? Why are malls dying? Um, I'd actually done a lot of research about Kmart, so Kmart made up the meat and potatoes about that. Um, I'll link that down in the description somewhere so that if you're interested to do the deep dive, you could do that as well. Um, but other than that, just stay tuned. I shall keep you up to date with things as I find them out. All right. Good night.